another Ask Me. Welcome to another Ask Me Anything session with our CXO in residence team from Canopy Community. We are here every month to help you trying answering your questions and trying to give you the best feedback we can. Due to several technical issues, we started a bit later today, and it's hard to add everyone. So I'll try to do that as we speak. Hopefully in the next minutes we'll be able to have more people. But for now, I have here with me already someone. Would you mind, Claire, introducing yourself and saying who you are and what are you looking for in here?
Okay, hi, I'm Claire from Green Roads. I'm the founder of a tech company. We use normal cameras that are installed on the road in order to collect real-time live information about the movements on the road. It's fully GDPR compliant, so we don't care about number plates, we don't recognize faces, but it's simply the understanding of the mobility type, whether it's a vehicle, whether it's a bus, whether it's a bicycle, whether it's a pedestrian, where they are going and at what speed. And we present this in very easy to use interface and the dashboard that allows clients to download reports and then use these reports to run into different simulators, do better road planning, so on and so forth. I'm here because Green Road is currently growing. So we finished the first version of our product and we're in the process of securing equity finance. And this is why we reached out to Canopy, and we've already in fact pitched in a previous session. And we would like to learn more about what is expected of us, how we can improve, so on and so forth.
Okay, so the main goal of Canopy is to provide feedback, to provide support to the founders, of course, also to the startups. But I think it's fair to say that we have a special focus on people, okay? And we truly believe that by helping and supporting and developing people, it's a great way to help them develop their own businesses. And being a community of startup founders and companies, of course, it's a lifelong path. So support is always welcome. I'm not sure I understood your question. So let me just add Chuck in here. Let's see if our problems stop. Chuck, are you with us? Okay, let's see what happens.
There we go.
All right, so welcome, Chuck. I was explaining to Claire that we've been experiencing some technical issues, and Claire, how is the proper way to spell your surname? Ciancio? Help me, Claire.
Yes. C-I-A-N-C-I-O, Ciancio.
Ciancio. So sounds like Italian, right?
Yes, it is an Italian surname, in fact. But I am Maltese and I'm based in Malta.
Ah, all right.
And Malta has a cocktail of nationalities. We've had the English colony here, so a lot of people have immigrated over the years. And that is a reflection of who we are and our language in itself. We're very
all right. So yeah,
of Europe.
You in Malta and me in Portugal.
That's nice.
It's already a global meeting. All right.
Where is Chuck based?
I'm in the Boston area.
Okay.
Okay, so Chuck, for those who still don't know, who is Chuck? Can you describe yourself in a couple of sentences, just to explain Claire and the people that will see this video later?
Yeah, my focus is helping the world figure out how to tell the rest of the world what they do. It's about story. It's really beyond pitching. It's how do you get people to understand what it is that you do, why you deserve to be in the cosmos, what's the problem you're solving or the opportunity you're bringing, and finding that alignment to have somebody say, yeah, I get it. I like it. I want to hear more.
In short, I would summarize like the people decode that you are trying to help decode the dream to the real impact on the several groups of people that we need to impact, either the team, the potential or existent investors, and of course the customers. You must have a way to translate your vision, your passion, your dream into something that means value to them, right?
Well, it's simplifying, because sometimes we overtell our story. We tell our story, we tend to tell it from the inside out. You know, what it is that we do, as opposed to what is it that we can do for the people who we're trying to help. So it's identifying appropriate stakeholders and trying to figure out what it is that is going to get them to say, this is relevant, I'm interested, I want to hear more.
Okay, so being this Ask Me Anything session, Claire, do you have any question? We'd love you to have your questions. For now, you are the only people attending, probably because of those technical issues I referred. But we are here to answer all your questions the best way we can, if we can. So Claire, please start bringing your questions.
That's very good. Okay, so is just a technical one for the meantime. The camera is off on purpose, or do I need to do something to turn on my camera?
Because this is a webinar, I'm not sure you can, but
Okay,
try.
that's why then. That is why.
I'm sorry.
No problem. No problem at all.
So
Okay.
it's a good day.
So in relation to questions, the type of questions I had were more related to Canopy and what I can expect and what I can expect of these sessions. Basically, I was forwarded the details through the ERA program, and I'm reaching out to see what is expected. I've already participated in a pitching session last month, which went pretty well. I enjoyed it. I received very good feedback.
I remember.
Pardon?
I remember.
You remember? Okay, that's good. I was told that there was this question and answer session, and I joined in the hope that there will be a conversation so that I could listen, contribute, and you know how it is. More questions come to mind when there's a discussion going on rather than.
So okay. Usually, so this session usually on a normal day without these technical issues, we have a group of CXO with residence team members like me and Chuck, and people like you bringing in questions, and we are depending on the nature of the question, we are answering them live here based on the different areas that we are more expert on. Since today is a different day, let's make this a threefold conversation, and I will start by asking you, Claire, if you could describe in a very simple way at least one of your major challenges today. What is challenging you today in your business? And let's see if we can help you with some ideas, suggestions, and contributions.
Okay, so right now we've developed our product. We have the first version, which is operational. Of course, there are always iterations and improvements as we're doing, as we go along. And our challenges are to onboard new customers and onboard the team and prepare our marketing and how our storytelling essentially. So it's very good that there's Chuck here as well, because we're in the process that we need to develop our story and we need to say it in a way that interests our target clients. Now, our target clients for our software are municipalities, they are governments, government entities. They could be also urban planners who are doing works and are preparing transport impact assessments and the number of reports for government, and they want to do this in an easy manner. And the story, the problem that we're solving is that in order to have efficient planning, which addresses the needs of today, one needs to know the current situation. And when infrastructure investments are made, they need to be justified. If you if you're investing heavily in cycle lanes and you're investing heavily in new pedestrian crossings, you need to be able to prove that these are being used in the right way and that they are in fact as effective as you would have hoped for. They could also help to convert temporary measures to long-term measures. So for instance, there is a test pilot implementation of a one-way street, for example, or pedestrianized areas, and you need to see the pedestrian uptake over a certain amount of time, and our software will be in place to help monitor movements through already installed cameras in order to give you the statistics that you need in order to say this worked really well. We need to do more of this kind of practice in different cities or in different parts of the city, for example. And this is a part that we are currently investing in. We're looking for the right people in order to help us say the story, in order to reach out to customers, in order to be present at conferences and events. And we're looking into moving myself. So I'm the CEO of the company, and this is also a question in a way. So should I move the existing people? So myself, the CEO, will move into sales, into more of a client-facing role, and hand over all admin work to admin people. And we'll have also the current CTO move into a sales front as well, together with me. So we'll have two people with a vision and who know the product inside out, selling and reaching out to customers. Or should we employ people to, and then, so our option is either to employ people to replace our existing roles, so the one of CTO and the one of admin compliance and making sure the company is operation that I currently do. Or should we employ people in the sales and marketing role who are maybe more proficient in that area?
Okay, Claire, thank you. A long list of questions. I've been taking notes. So I'll start and I'm going to pass to Chuck right in a few seconds. But let me suggest structuring this the way I understood. So let's start by the beginning. I see three different challenges here. One of them is, so you have a working product already working. It's past the MVP, or at least on the MVP stage, and now you need to start getting traction, right?
Exactly.
And the challenge number one is, how do I tell my story when I start hiring people? So I can hire the right people, not just because they own the perfect skill set, but because for different reasons, I may believe they can be aligned with our vision, right? Challenge number one. Challenge number two is, how do I explain to prospects what is my product or service? In a way, they want to know more, because I think the goal of every pitch is putting the potential customer in a position of wanting to know more. That's question number two. And question number three is, should I and my CTO do something sales-related and so hire someone to do the things that we used to do and we can't do any longer? Or should we hire a sales team and keep doing what we do today? Correct?
Exactly. Thank you for explaining my questions in a much better way than I said them.
And I'm hoping I'm not being misunderstood by trying to structure this way, because I want to give you the best support we can. And so simplifying the questions, even if I'm abusing some simplifications, I know, maybe a way to provide you a more useful set of contents. So Chuck, now we are onboarding a team. So Claire has a business that collects real-time information regarding traffic, and they are distributing that information in a structured way for the profile of a potential customer she defined. What should she be, or what should she consider on this for the first challenge? Onboarding people, finding the right people, and finding the right matches, other than just the skill sets.
Well, I think all this goes in parallel. You know, the story that you're going to use to reach those you're trying to sell to, your audience, your market, that obviously requires your ability to tell a story very simply, that communicates not only what you do, but why you do it and why it's important. Your team that you put together really have to be totally aligned in terms of that story. So I think that no matter what, at the very core of whatever you're going to do, whether it is going to market, or whether it is finding the right people, you have to present yourself with such clarity that that we know immediately what you do. Now, what I was a little lost until further in the conversation was that it seems that the primary focus is on traffic and not just general municipal needs. Is that correct?
No,
It is not. Okay.
we actually started this business because we envisage a better world where pedestrians and cyclists can move more freely in the roads, feel safer, breathe cleaner air. And we felt that in order to arrive at this vision, in order to arrive at cities which actually deliver spaces and roads that are conducive of active
Okay,
mobility.
but it's not
we
just
need data.
general municipal needs. This is really about how people can transport themselves through the place where they live
And helping
safely and efficiently. So it's primarily on, you know, pedestrian, bicycles, traffic. It's essentially movement within a municipality. Is that correct?
Yes, it is to
Okay.
help municipalities understand where they are at and where they are going with what they've got in terms of
That
investment
could be a very
infrastructure.
interesting theme. You know, I can see a metaphoric parallel between where cities are moving toward and how people move within a city. And I think you can make a very strong case that the way we locomote, you know, within the places we live, have changed and are continuing to change. And the best way to be able to plan for that is to really understand, you know, number one, where things are now, where the strengths and deficiencies are, where you want to move into the future, and what ideas and technologies are going to be available. And the only way to do this accurately is through you know, proper assessment and measurement. Am I getting a little bit of what you're doing?
This is it.
Okay, so I think it's got to be that simple in terms of the story, which I did not necessarily get when you were initially trying to explain it. So I think starting with a foundation of something that is just very clear, very simple, so people can understand, first of all, the big picture. And then once they understand that, then you can go in and provide greater detail. Now, where this leads us is that's not only going to be important for the customers that you're attempting to serve, but I think it's going to be invaluable in helping you choose the right team. They've got to be really aligned and really buy into that idea. You're going to need to share your story in the interviewing process to figure out whether they actually get it and they're passionate about it. So I think all of this, I think that for me, I'm not a numbers guy. I'm not a technology guy. I am essentially a message guy. But messages all of what we do. We can't do anything unless we communicate who we are by recognizing who the right stakeholders are and how to reach them. So I would spend some time not only, fleshing out your technology and improving it, but just getting the clarity of your story by understanding who your stakeholders are, what's important for them, and what is it that you can say to them that is going to make it very clear what you do and to get them interested, and if you're lucky, passionate. Does that help at all?
Yes. This session is being recorded, so I'll tap into what you just said and how you described our message as well.
Yeah, I think it's simplifying it. I think that there is, you start out with the big picture, not detail, not how you do it. But you start out by getting people to say, yes, I see there is actually a need for this. Either you are solving a problem or providing an opportunity. It can be both, but it has to be at least one of those. And that you've got to make your audience, whoever it is, feel. Now, your different audiences are going to have different lenses to be able to see what it is that you do. Your municipalities are going to want to be able to say, yes, I see that there is a problem or an opportunity, and this can solve it in a way that is very cost effective and is not onerous. To investors, if you're going there, you can say there's a big enough market for this. To the general public, it is look at what we're going to do to enhance your lifestyle. And for the people who you are hiring, it is, yes, we can dedicate a good chunk of our passion, interest, and experience on this because we believe in what it is that you say.
I think you can, of course, you have to iterate often, like everything else in the startup world, but you can test different approaches. But just following up on what Chuck just said, your team can be your co-creators of the grounds for the future cities are being developed based on a few things that were not relevant until recently, plus real data and real information that considers relevant things like safety, like environment protection, whatever. So you just have to be able to say a single sentence that I can say, I relate to that. I want to know more. And that works for all audiences. Okay, if it doesn't necessarily need to be the same sentence, of course they can't be contradictory, otherwise you'll be lying. But you need to find, and I'm not talking about the punchline. I'm talking about explain in a way that a 5-year-old kid would understand, and I can say, okay, that makes sense. Tell me more, because we tend many times to overwhelm people with information, and we lose the connection, and it's just about us. And a thing I learned in my past and my present, I see it confirmed daily almost. It's never about us. It's not even about our product or service or our message. It's always about the other person, always.
Yep.
We either add value or solve problems, or we're just wasting our time and that person's time.
You need to, to figure out what it is that you need to leave them with something memorable. And it seems to me that what you're talking about in the most global perspective is that you're looking at designing the successful cities of the future. And so many things are affecting that, climate, technology, all these things that are contributing to it. But it seems to me that what your message is the success of cities of the future right now are right under our feet. This is really about, about the way we move about. I think you have potentially a very, very compelling story. So what I would do, I'm gonna have to jump off in a moment because I've got a roundtable coming up, which, by the way, I'll invite you to in just one moment, tell you about that. But I think you've got the potential for a very, very strong story. Now, what I would have you consider is there anything else out there like what it is that you're doing? And if there is, you have to show why you're differentiated from them. One thing that I have learned is we are not who we think we are. We're not even who we are. We are who they think we are. And either they're making presumptions based on limited information that you give them, but that can lead them down the wrong path. So it's our responsibility to be very clear so that they get it, so that they differentiate you from other things that are out there. They don't confuse you with something else. They don't dismiss you because we don't need that. So I would say spend a little time taking yourself out from telling the story from the inside out, but tell the story from the outside in, from the perspective, as Pedro said, it's from the perspective. The story, you can be the subject matter, but the story is really not about you. The story is about them. The story is about them and how you and they can interact to provide mutual benefits. And it seems to me that your benefits are going to be for the municipalities. It's going to be for society at large. I can see that you have the potential of a very strong story. Before I jump off, I'll stay for another moment or so, but there's a nice network that could be an additional adjunct. This is another freebie. Pedro attends all the time. I've been running for the last 3 years a global entrepreneurial roundtable where there are some extraordinary people sharing great ideas. And it seems to me that, you know, as you're beginning to build your own resources and network, that this could be something that, whether you come once in a while or whether you come fairly frequently, you will make connections and you will learn some really interesting things. So jot down the following if you would. It's simply chucksroundtable.com, CHUCKSROUNDTABLA.com. We meet on Wednesdays, 1 o'clock Eastern, which is, I don't know, what is it, about 5 o'clock your time?
It starts in 14 minutes to help you,
Right.
Claire.
And what time is it where you are right now? Is it 4:45?
It's 18:46.
18?
Yes.
Okay. Well, I have a difficult, like I say, I'm not a numbers person, so even translating time zones is sometimes beyond my reach. But anyway, join us when you can. Take my email address and send me a contact information and maybe a connection to your website. I would be very curious to see it. I'd be happy to set up a brief call with you just to take a look at what your story is all about. So my email address is very easy. It's chuck@chuckgoldstone.com.
chuck@chuckgoldstone.com. Okay, very easy.
Excellent. Really
Thank you.
nice meeting you. I've got to jump off and prepare for the meeting in 10 minutes or so. And if you can join us this week, that would be fine. When you register, if you scroll down on your ticket, it will give you the link.
Okay.
And the password is connection. Anyway, very nice meeting you and hope to chat with you in the future.
Thank you, Chuck.
Thank you, Chuck. Okay, and we still have some time. I'm trying to give you some help on the question of moving to sales or not, right? Regarding the question on the message, any doubts, any comments you'd like to make, Claire?
One comment that comes out clear is that perhaps the best persons to tell the story from the outside in are people who are not in, because they can see it from the outside.
Because There's a good metaphor I love that people try to explain how a watch works. And I don't care how a watch works. I just, I want to, for a start, I need to know if it helps me, and helps me by giving me the hours. If I'm a busy person with a busy schedule, I need to have a good watch so I can ensure I'll be on time for everything. Maybe for other reasons in the future, I may be interested in understanding how the clock works. But for a start, I'm interested in buying a watch because it gives me the hours and can ensure me I'll be meeting my meetings timely.
Mhm.
Sometimes we are so in love with our products and services that we just try to explain everything about all the magnificent things that make my wonderful watch work. In the end, I just want to ensure that it will be working properly, so I'll meet my meetings, because I'm not trying to understand the mechanics around the watch. I'm just trying to reach my meetings timely.
Mhm.
And where we got lost sometimes. That's why it's so important to tell your story from the outside to the inside. And the same for your team, because either they are related, of course, they may be quite super interested, especially the tech people, on the technologies that are using. For example, I'm super interested in blockchain, you are using blockchain. And so that it's like a trigger for me. But then after a while, there are zillions of ways in this example of a blockchain fan to be working for a company that uses blockchain. There are zillions of companies doing that. So moving to the next step, there must be something that makes me tick, that says, wow, it's amazing and uses blockchain. That's and I want. So it's the reverse. Okay, it's not. It uses blockchain and it's amazing. No, it's amazing and it allows me to develop my blockchain abilities or whatever I'm looking for from a technical standpoint. Okay, makes
Mhm.
sense.
Exactly.
Now, sales. I truly believe everyone in a company, like not just yours, but in the stage yours is at the moment, must be always some way sales related, always, for two reasons. Let's call it inbound and outbound. But the most important is, actually, let me rephrase it. It's for the mouth and the ears. And the thing is that we know that we start by doing something, and the really successful version of a plan, a product, won't be the first. It's quite uncommon, correct? What happens from the version 1 to the successful version? A lot of iterations that come from where? Come from the people that are actually going to use our service. And they will give us the real feedback, the real useful ones. They will say what is missing. They will say what they value in what our service is providing at the moment. They can give us information like, no, that feature doesn't make sense to me, or I'm already solving that with a different solution from another company. So it's the real world, it's the market that will help us move on the right direction. Of now, small side note, being innovators, sometimes what we are trying to do, what we are actually doing, is so new that of course we need also to, let's say, train the audience. But unless we can do that successfully, meaning there is a real need or a real opportunity that they are not yet seeing, but once we explain or do whatever we need to do to achieve that, they agree that opportunity exists or that need exists. So we train them on that. Too many times people try to train the audiences to things that are unreal, that do not exist, that just exist on our heads, or are so niche that doesn't make sense to go in that direction. So why does the CEO, the CTO should be involved on sales? Because they need to learn to evolve. They need to be in contact with the real people that can actually buy or will buy the service that you are providing. And unless you are in connection with them, at least on the early stages, you will miss that. let's say you have a sales rep and he's the best sales rep in the planet. It's always an extra layer in communication. So I have a prospect, I'm talking to your sales rep, which is the best sales rep in the planet. I will explain something, and that person will translate to you. And you are not listening that on, let's say, directly. So there can be some problems coming from that translation as I defined it, okay? So you should be in connection with customers, at least on the early stages. I would say more than just on the early stages, but you should be at least on the early stages. And the same goes to your CTO. Because what the other thing is, no one explains better your vision than you, because it's your vision. Now, of course, you have to do the work, as Czech, for example, gave you. I think he gave some very interesting and useful tips. You have to refine the way you structure the message so you can deliver a good message properly, but no one is, there is no bigger expert on your vision than you. Can you agree on that? Or don't you agree?
Yes, yes, of course. In fact, we started this project even co-created with the clients. So even though we are the innovators and the developers of the solution, we started this with a client-led problem. So we spoke to the local infrastructure authority, we spoke with the transport authority. We saw that there is this missing gap in what they have in terms of information, and this is why we designed and we created the software that we have today.
Okay. Now, why? And suddenly you got so busy, you and your CTO, that you are so busy doing other things that you are no longer co-creating things with customers. Am I correct?
We are co-creating with customers all the time.
Are you still doing that? So the question for you to move to a more sales-related, let's say, job within the company was because now you need to try to, increase
it's a
the
numbers game. We need to sell, we need to reach out, we need to find and convert more clients, because of course keeping the company alive entails costs, and in order to do the new developments and whatnot, it is an expensive business to be in, as you can appreciate. So we need numbers. We need good conversion.
Yes. So the thing is, you don't have a huge amount of potential customers, right?
Yes.
So I would say the effort to try to sell to that smaller amount of customers is probably, let's imagine that there is a fixed amount of effort per customer. If we reduce the amount of potential customers, then the total work will decrease, correct?
Depends on how you see it.
No, tell me.
It's government. I mean, we have two sides of customers, either governments or private industrial parks or urban planners, which have a short sales cycle. But as you can imagine, governments have their own tools, have their own integrations, and there is an element of customization that goes into each individual client, basically.
So probably
the software remains the same, the backbone remains the same, but how it's applied and how the reports are drafted might change from client to client.
I understand, Claire. So probably you have, I would say, commercial strategy that includes how to address those different segments.
Exactly.
Okay. Who oversees that strategy? You?
This is what we're determining right now. How are we going to build this approach, right? We need to build the sales machine, which we don't have right now. It's just us. And this is why the questions that I have.
Okay. If I was you, and of course, I must say, I don't have enough information to have an opinion. This disclosure, okay, and the statement, but I would keep leading sales and looking for help I would say, to less added value tasks in the beginning, until you reach the moment that you can really contract hire people for high added value tasks. And I'm talking about sales in this moment, okay? Because there's some legwork that all sales efforts require that can be supported, part of it by technology, of course, part of it by, I would say, people that are less expensive. And I would leave to you and to your CTO the most important parts of the sales cycle, honestly, because you need speed both in trying to reach the customers, but especially in getting their feedback. And that,
another thing is how do we make ends meet in the meantime, right? So far we managed to build our software thanks to first friendly clients, thanks to H2 Horizon project. And this is why our approach has been, let's raise equity finance to help us get to that stage as well.
I would consider also two other options, and I would add them. I would not say options as in either one or the other. One is trying to understand what is your ecosystem and who could you partner with. Sometimes it's easier for me to sell to someone that is already servicing my customers. And I'm not saying becoming their subcontractor, I'm saying partnering with them, because they're already dealing in some way to something that is connected to the need I'm trying to service my customer. And it can be mutually beneficial, because for my partner is added value to their proposal, and for me is easing the way, you know, like something like paving the way to those conversations with them.
In fact, we have already enrolled a company in Spain who's an urban planner, whose customer is government. And we have a few sales in the pipeline together. And we're also working with transport experts who give talks, who deliver advice to governments. And we've enrolled one in Denmark and in the process of enrolling another one in Italy.
Okay. Suggestion I would make in that area is, don't forget you need to have some marketing efforts with them, meaning sometimes companies become our partners because they were needing something that they could sell using our solution, but they are not doing a real effort to resell over and over and over our solution. We're just useful on the specific moment. And sometimes they are our formal partners, but actually they were customers one day, and they are not, you know, helping us push the mountain. Now, that is something I would definitely consider. So, you know, you need to be constantly in their top of mind and working close with them, trying to ensure that they also bring you the proper feedback from their markets, and also they are really active trying to sell your solution and not hold it on their portfolio for a day that they'll need again somewhere in the future. The second suggestion is that you can help that doesn't necessarily need to be hired. So you can have advisors, you can have a board, you can have a lot of different formats of, I would say, very experienced help for your business in these early days, where you still can afford to hire someone that is an expert on your field and has the right connections to reach that people. So maybe you can reach someone like that on a different format, other than just trying to recruit that person, because probably it's too expensive for this moment of the company. Many times you have to be quite creative in balancing all this, because let's say you have X amount of money, and with this X amount of money, you can hire a very junior person. But maybe with that same amount of money, you can make an agreement with an advisor that is really expert on something that is super useful to you. And the real impact in the short term and in the middle term will be bigger than hiring someone that is quite junior and it's on its learning path, which is great. But since you can't afford both, sometimes you have to go with one, sometimes you have to go with the other. Just keep the options open.
So instead of, for example, hiring a storyteller, could have someone like Chuck, for example, on our board in order to help define our story.
Things like that. That's another thing that Canopy community also provides to their members, is not to be discussed here because our time is running out. But we also help our founders, for example, build their own boards. Okay, so if it's something that makes sense to you,
Yes.
you can reach any of us, Stuart Noakes, me, whatever. Okay, I'm trying. Well, since I'm having with all these problems, it's hard for me to share here my LinkedIn profile, but it's quite simple. It's my name, as you can see here. Okay, it's quite simple. Or you can search by Canopy and you find Pedro Guimarães there. Just reach me at LinkedIn, and usually I would be posting here all the links for the community and for me, but with all these problems, I don't want to take any more risks. But reach me via LinkedIn and we can have a conversation around that, because we can also provide that. And this CXO in residence team, I will also give you the Linktree link after our connection, allows you to reach any of our CXO members. Okay, so we have people from product, from sales, from marketing, from storytelling, technology people, all areas are covered. And the whole idea of this CXO in residence team is actually that to provide direct support help from subject matter experts on their fields to support founders on their very specific needs. So this Ask Me Anything is more like an open session for everyone to come in and bring questions today for you, luckily, for all of us. But after that, you can reach us, and I'll send you the link, and you can see what makes sense to you and book a conversation directly with them via, we have a directory with all the Calendly links or whatever links. So you can book sessions with everyone and have direct conversations with all the members of the CXO in residence team. And other than that, we have a conversation regarding boards and whatever makes, whatever you may need help. Okay?
Okay, thank you.
So Claire, before leaving and shutting this session, I would like to leave you, ask you final comments, questions. How do you feel? What do you want to share with us?
No, just nice frame behind you.
Sorry?
Nice picture behind you.
May the force be with you.
Yes, with you too.
Okay, so it was a pleasure meeting you again, Claire, since last month, our demo night, and hopefully you'll be attending this month's demo night. We do it once every month, as you know. As to everyone watching this at home, thank you for taking your time to attending to another Ask Me Anything session today on very, I would say, unexpected circumstances due to all these tech related problems, but that's part of life. Dealing with with problems that we can't foresee, but we have to deal with them and move on. That's part of a founder's life. No, so I hope you enjoyed. Have a great month. See you next month. And Claire, thank you so much for coming in and bringing all your questions. And let's keep in touch.
Thank you.
Okay. Have a great day. Have a great month. See you next month. Bye.
Ciao, ciao.